It began with 3 pillars, the foundation for UW Esports, pushing ourselves to greater heights.
Community.
Career. Competition.
Oh yeah. Reminds me of Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant Yakpung. Reminiscent of that, of just juggling everyone into the corner there.
Maybe that'll be the game changer here for UW.
Maybe. Oh my goodness! What an angle by Wizard!
Wow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to tonight's esports games of the week. We are going to be starting the night out with some Rocket League, where we're going to get to watch our UW team face off against the University of California, San Diego. And then after that, make sure you guys stick around to cheer on our Overwatch team as they play against Ohio Esports at 7. Sorry about that. Our esports program seeks to build and foster community, open doors to the vast career opportunities in the field of gaming, and promote the virtues of healthy competition. Through esports, we are able to communicate with one another and build relationships with the people in our communities, and that's such a great thing to keep going, and we love supporting that. We hope you enjoy being a part of our community, and we invite you to get more involved. You guys can follow us here on our UW Esports Discord server, as well as on our social channels at UW Esports. Now, to introduce ourselves, I'm Hydra K9 or Caleb. I'm currently a 3rd year at the University of Washington. I'm going to be one of your casters for the night.
I'm Kade. I'm a grad student at the University of Washington. I'll also be a caster.
All right, so we got to see our boys play in some CRL a couple of weekends ago. There was a lot of Rocket League to watch, and it was definitely fun to watch them kind of adapt and evolve over the course of a couple series. What are you looking forward to, Kade, from these guys tonight?
So I'm most interested to see if some of the stuff that we talked about on that previous stream, if any of that has changed, like the backboard defense and transitions into defense, for example. But mostly I'm excited to watch some Rocket League.
Yeah, we definitely saw them getting beat a little bit on those transitions, and I think we saw a lot of improvement towards the end of their kind of run there with CRL, and they got pretty far through that, making it into the, I believe, semifinals. It might have been the quarterfinals, but they definitely were making the changes that they needed to make over that course of a day, right? So it's interesting to see if they kind of held on to those changes and made sure to keep continuing to work on those things that we were talking about and continue to make those changes to improve their level of play.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fun to continue to watch these guys as they continue to grow together, because for some of you that might not be super involved in the UW Rocket League scene, these guys are pretty new to playing with each other. Pretty fresh team. We had a different set of 3 players, and they all kind of swapped out, had their run, and now we've got a whole new team of Rocket League players that are kind of starting to learn how to play cohesively and play together. And we got to see a lot of their growth as a team kind of come to a head from the first game that we streamed of theirs on this channel, the first series, going pretty well, but having a lot of rocky, bumpy spots, and then going to CRL, and we saw basically a whole different team playing way more cohesively, lots of great passing plays, super aggressive offense. Again, struggling with a couple of things, like Kade said, the backboard defense and kind of rotations from, pushing offense to getting back on defense. And now we get to see, how they progress even further a couple of weeks later, continuing to practice together and play some series.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to wait too much longer, and we can get into game 1 here. So starting this out, we've got Ohio and blue here. Well, Daz up for this ball, and a little bit of a floater here in the midfield. Starting this one out pretty slow, as Aslan 50s this one off the wall. Bunker with a good 50 there in the corner, keeping this one in the blue half. In with good positioning to scoop this up. A little bit of a weird touch, going for a pinch there. Not quite the power I think they were expecting. Good read here for corner dubs, but not quite. Good pass, though, out to Vin. Not enough power to make anything happen. Big shot there from the midfield, just barely bouncing off a post. And UW has a little bit of a fight here as they need to get this out of their half, low on boost. Then there's another one right into net, and that's a good way for Ohio to start this one out. Quick goal there.
Yeah, just a little bit awkward with the big clear that went off the post, and UW didn't quite know how to recover.
Yeah, those are definitely tough to react to. Kind of stuck in the net. You expect the ball to be placed on net, so when it misses just barely, it can definitely throw you off. Been trying to carry this out of UW's half. Good touch there from Matt to play that out. A good backboard pass. Play out from Roldaz to Matt. Good fake there from Aslan on the wall. A bit of a slow pace here as they're just kind of waiting for possession. Aslan with a great challenge there. You see ball floating in blue corner. Great beat there. Aslan just touching this to corner, buying the teammate some time. And Bunker's going to be able to get a pass out. Not quite the clear that they needed, but it should be enough.
This definitely does seem like a slower paced game from both teams than what we saw most recently.
You know, I'd probably guess that that's like game one, getting the jitters out, trying to feel out each other's play styles. I think we saw that a lot throughout the tournament too. You know, they just kind of started each series pretty slow, and then kind of picked up the pace as they got more comfortable playing each other. So I think we'll probably see a bit of a pickup in the speed of play in, you know, game 2 and 3, and probably at the end of this game as well.
That's a nice pass. Really good save from Bunker too.
Finn looking a little AFK here. Just kind of waiting on that one.
Controller disconnect, maybe?
I don't know. Maybe just not a threat. Yeah. Bunker with a bit of a risky touch there. I think I'd want to take that to corner, but instead kind of floating it in front of net. And this has been in UW's half for quite a while.
I like this play from Aslan there. Had no boost, but pretended like he had some kind of threat.
Yeah, I think that the mind side of the game doesn't get talked about a lot, but you know, you can kind of posture and put yourself in positions that make the other player think, you know, I have boost, I have a shot, I'm threatening here. And it can cause them to react in a way that gives you the advantage. And you're right, that was a great play from Bunker. And a great pass there, too, off the wall from the center field. That's going to be goal
really
number 1 for UW.
It's difficult to make those pre-flips and get the right touch in situations like that. And he handled that really nicely.
It all starts from that great pass, too, from the midfield. And Bunker with the great pre-flip, and that's going to be goal number 1. Bunker being patient here, waiting on this one. Good challenge, beaten Roldaz. Bit of awkwardness there from UW. Not quite sure what happened. That's going to lead to goal number 2 for Ohio here.
Yeah, it looked like it was just maybe some confusion as to who was going to go for that, to make that challenge.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one to miscommunicate on. I feel like the positioning was there. They had the rotation and everything, but...
Yeah. My guess is maybe one of them was low boost and the other one assumed that they just didn't communicate that quick enough.
Yeah, maybe. Bit of an opportunity for a counterattack here. Bunker with a good 50. I like that, letting that ball go and collect boost instead, knowing the teammate is there to back you up with a full tank.
A little bit of a double commit.
Bunker with a good high touch, beat out by Raul Days. Aslan passing that out mid, but nobody there. It's a great pass, but not necessarily great if no one's there to receive it. And with a good, powerful clear. Bunker up for this one. Just barely beat by Matt there. Dangerous ball, and that's going to be placed out wide. Raul Days with another shot, played out by Vin. Going to have an opportunity for a counterattack here. Full field. Vin's dangerous with these. Around 1. Great save there from Raul Days. And Aslan able to clean that one up, and that's going to be goal number 2 for UW. And with a good ball out there, Bunker trying to pre-jump that one, but Raul Days with a demo in the back line, definitely dangerous. Bunker rushing this ball just a little bit, and that's going to be overtime.
Interesting kickoff strategy there.
Definitely a scary one for UW there.
That was definitely a set play from San Diego.
And it's going to work out for them. Lots of pressure right out the gate. 12 seconds into overtime. That's going to be the third and final goal for game number 1 going in favor of Ohio. Definitely an interesting start. I think you nailed it right on the nose. Pretty slow gameplay to start that one out. And it'll be interesting to see, how UW kind of counterattacks this one, comes back and tries to change the pacing a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely were playing, like you said, it seemed like they were feeling each other out really early. There were some times where UCSD was getting a lot of good sort of sustained pressure in UW's zone, but for the most part it was pretty even. So interesting to see how this next one goes.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how they, kind of feel each other out. I think that University of California, San Diego, I think I was saying Ohio, but Overwatch Ohio, us California. Anyway, I think that UCSD was definitely playing the passing plays really well and had a lot of good team cohesion there. And I think we saw that out of UW as well. I mean, that great midfield pass to Bunker with the pre-flip, it was definitely a great shot to see. And I think like a good one for the highlight reel later on. But, UCSD just kind of had that small passing game down pretty well. We saw lots of good plays out of their half and kind of getting those cherry pick plays and getting those players out in the midfield. And I think that that's right in the zone where UW kind of struggles a little bit with that kind of side of things, trying to manage the rotations, transitioning from one side to the other. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how they kind of improve that in game number 2.
Yeah, definitely. And like the sort of quick transitions to offense for UCSD are, well, the quick transitions to defense for UW are things that we've noticed them sort of struggling with, and that'll lead to sustained pressure from the other team if you're not sort of comfortably making that transition to be able to get out of defense as quick as possible.
I definitely do think that we've seen a lot less of those little mistakes from UW so far. I think that, from the first series that we saw them play, probably a little bit nervous and having to, kind of play as a team for one of the first times ever. Moving over to CRL, we saw a great improvement in the number of just like simple mistakes that you don't usually see from players at this level. And having played with them personally, I know that they don't make those mistakes that often. And so seeing them, kind of work those out of their play and really start to improve and focus up on the little game, the small game. And now it comes down to things that, actually are a big side of the mental side of things, not just the mechanical or the simple mistakes that, someone will make. We're starting to see them really work those out. And now we get to talk about the small nitpicky stuff like those back defensive rotations and the backboard plays. So it's really great to see them improve over the course of, how long they've been playing together.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind, like these guys are really used to playing against opponents at this level, but there's something different that happens when you play against teams of players that are at the same level. Teams of players that, like the collegiate teams, for example, they're much better at capitalizing on the little mistakes like that. If you're playing in ranked, typically you're playing against people that don't play together, and they might all be very individually good, but they might not be cohesive in the way that they're going to capitalize on every little mistake that you make. So when you're playing against collegiate teams, these sorts of things are brought out much more clearly.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why it's so great that I think we saw one in the last game with that slight defensive rotation miscommunication, and that was it. That was the only one that I noticed.
Yeah,
and
I think there was the one with the we think was low boost, and then the other one where I think it was Vin's controller disconnected.
So when it comes down to just those two things, it's pretty crazy how far they've come. Yeah. So I think we get to see how they improve over the course of the series here as we get into game number 2. Good kickoff there from UCSD. We're all days playing this one a little bit light in the corner, and a good block there from Aslan. chasing this ball back. Matt close with the redirect there. Not quite able to get the touch that's needed. Good 50 there from Aslan. 3 players in the corner here, a little bit dangerous as Vin rotates back post. Good touch out by Aslan there. He'll be able to collect boost, and it's going to give UW a little bit of time here. Not quite enough to get this ball out of their half. A bit of an early challenge, I feel like, there from Aslan, but a great save from Vin. And another great one to follow that.
Yeah, huge play right there.
Big touch out there from Aslan. It's going to be another high ball. I think a little bit of low boost on UCSD's half here. Awkward one there as Days tries to get up to it. A big flick from Lava Blue. Good touch from Matt as well, but Vin able to scoop that one up and play it out. This is a dangerous ball here for UW, and it's played low. A great save from Aslan.
Yeah, really nice saves so far in this game.
Definitely locked down that defense a little bit, and that's, I feel like, the second double commit that we've seen between Vin and Bunker. The first one was a pinch attempt, and I can respect that. But that one was a little bit out of left field, and I think that's going to lead to goal number 1 here from UCSD.
But yeah, put Aslan in a bit of a tough situation being in that 3v1.
Yeah, and that high aerial too. Those are probably the most dangerous double commits as well, because not only are you double committing players and having, you know, that 3v1, but you're low on boost and way out of the play to get back. But it doesn't matter as UW retaliates here. Aslan's going to say, I'm not going to go down without a fight, puts another one on. That's going to be goal number 1 for UW. Big carry here from Aslan. Dangerous with those. Lava Blue has to respect and goes up early. Good thought there from Bunker, putting that one low. Not quite able to make anything happen with it. 2 players missed that one ball, bouncing in front of UW's net. 50 in the midfield. It's floating here as Aslan plays it a little bit slower. Trying to beat as many players as possible. I definitely think that the pace is picked up on game 2.
Yeah.
Good touch there from Matt. Off the wall. Lava Blue trying to predict that one. Bit of awkwardness here from UW. Vin out of the play. A bump from Bunker, and that's going to be another goal for UCSD. And again, it comes down to just a little bit of a miscommunication there on that defensive rotation. Bunker accidentally takes Vin out of the play and then gets bumped himself. A little bit of mechanical showing there. Bunker takes it on the ground. 2 fake challenges from both players. Those are always really awkward when you're kind of playing in the ranked game and both you go and fake challenge the ball and it just kind of floats there, sits there for a minute. Kind of like, you go first. No, you go first.
Yeah, I love those moments.
Been up for this one, another great save. Been real solid on defense this game. And a great
nice
fake from Aslan.
Oh, that brings me back to that double. Like that, you faked out 2 people.
Yeah, it was replaying in my head all day. So brutal there.
That's a really nice get there.
And if you guys don't know what shot we're talking about, go check out our Twitter. Aslan had a great double fake in the end of one of the CRL matches. And
it's completely destroyed the confidence of that team, I think.
Yeah, it was real brutal and definitely a great shot. So go dig it up from the Twitter and watch it. You'll gain a little bit of respect for Aslan. Ball behind Bunker. This is real awkward here, but Matt floating, not able to do anything with it.
And he played it really patiently there, which I like to see. Like, a lot of people in that situation panic, and then the opponent can do something, but he knew as long as he stayed in front of it, there wasn't really danger.
Yeah, definitely agree there. And it can be intimidating. The reason I said awkward, when you're backward like that, it's like probably the hardest moment to control your car, maybe upside down in the air. It's the only other time I could think of that's as confusing because all your controls are flipped for those of you that, don't play Rocket League. And that's a nice little touch. These guys definitely play a lot of Rocket League because that was a well put together passing play there, kind of getting it over one player and into the hands of another. It's going to be goal number 2 to tie it up here for UW. And goal number 3 real quick, not quite, just barely missed, but Vin's going to finish this one off for Bunker. And UW up a goal here with 38 seconds. Bunker falling this one into the corner. Quite able to beat to the boost. It's going to give UCSD a bit of time here to retaliate. Like what UW's doing here, playing the clock slow. Double commit isn't exactly what we want to see. Bit of awkwardness there. Not quite sure what happened, but it's going to work out for UW. 16 seconds left. Can they get this out of their half? Still a dangerous ball. Good touch out from Aslan, playing that far away. Again, playing the clock. That's what we like to see in this situation. Don't need to force another goal. Don't need to make anything happen. You just got to make that timer hit 0. That's what they're going to do here as that ball pops over lava. Ball touches ground, and that's going to be the series tied 1-1. We're going to be going into game number 3 here to see who is going to take away the win for the night.
Yeah, definitely like you said, a faster paced game. We saw some more. Yeah, they're definitely starting to like opening up. But also I think maybe just some more kind of simple mistakes coming from UC San Diego in game 2, which UW capitalized on very well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that UW was able to find their windows and their opportunities there. I think we saw, I'm going to say with the increase of speed, I think we saw both teams with a couple more of those simple mistakes. And I think from UW, the real kicker was the double commits. I think we saw 3 or 4 that game.
Yeah.
Which isn't super characteristic for them. I think watching them play, it's not super often that we see double commits from them. Usually, I think when we see it the most is when they're in those awkward defensive rotations that we've been talking about all night. You know, getting back on defense, they're rushing back, they're not quite sure who needs to go, and then we get a double commit. But here we were seeing it a lot on offense, going for challenges, going for shots, and those double commits happening from both teams. I think we commented on at least a half dozen double commits in that game. And I think that comes with the increase of speed of play, like you said. I think that when that pace starts to pick up and you're thinking a lot quicker, these players are making, split-second reaction time decisions. You start to see a little bit more of those positioning mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they kind of smooth that out going into game 3, because it's one of those simpler mistakes that's really hard to fix, I think, and it really comes down to playing a lot with the same team. And once the pace starts to pick up and you start to lose the pocket that you're in, like kind of that comfortable spot, that comfortable speed and play style, and you start to get away from how you're used to playing with your teammates, I think that's when you see the most of those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah. When it's like faster pace, like you said, it's just sort of slightly out of your comfort zone, and when you're playing with a kind of new team where you haven't been in a ton of situations together. But one thing maybe we're thinking about is that for these kinds of double commits, a lot of them you can't really communicate. You don't have time to communicate who's going to go for the ball because you have to react split second, like you said. So it really comes down to knowing your teammates really well and knowing, but maybe more importantly, knowing where they are before the decision has to be made. So then like as it's happening, like if the ball goes this way, then I'm going to have it. If it goes the other way, then my teammate will. And that can be communication prior to the whatever happens to where the ball goes in a weird direction. Yeah. Or just like knowing the play style of your teammates really well. Yeah.
Or using probably the least used button on my controller, the right stick. I never touch that thing, and it's definitely not great. But for those of you that don't know, for Rocket League, you can kind of swivel your camera around. You can look around and see what the play is going on and see what the field is going on. And a lot of players fall into the habit of never using their camera, never moving it around, and just kind of sticking with what the game is showing you. Because it could be a lot to think about moving that camera around. And you see it from these players. You'll see their camera kind of snap in a weird direction all of a sudden. It's because they're, surveying the area, figuring out where their teammates were, like Kade was saying, figure out what the positioning is. And then again, communicating with each other and kind of talking it out and knowing the play style of your teammates. All those things together is what prevents those, like Kade said, because you really can't communicate it ahead of time. It's got to be an informed decision more than a reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad you brought up the right stick, because that is definitely like the most underutilized well, it's not a button, but whatever, part of the controller.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's something that I've even been trying to like work into my game a lot more, because that's like, if you, the quickest way to find out where your teammates are is to look. It's quicker
look
than even
yourself.
asking,
Exactly. You don't have to wait for them to respond. You can just figure it out.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some players using their right sticks, looking around and trying to work through some of those miscommunications that were leading to those double commits as we get into game 3 here. And again, for those of you just now joining us, the series is tied 1-1, best of 3. So this is the game to decide it all. And already a great start there from Bunker with an aggressive challenge. Aslan with another shot on and 2 incredible saves there, as UCSD is going to have an opportunity to play it out of their half. Good touch there from Vin. Not enough boost to get up to that, but Bunker's going to be able to follow it up. That's going to be goal number 1 for UW. Definitely a good way to start this out for UW. Aslan in a bit of an awkward spot. Not quite sure what happened there with Matt. Good patience there from Aslan. But not quite able to get the double on that.
Yeah, recently became a big fan of the low 50s. I think that's like something that isn't used nearly enough at this level.
Good challenge there from Vin. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that a lot of players struggle with being patient for 50s. They kind of rush their way into a 50. And another great shot from Bunker. And UW with an insurance goal on the board. And they've got a little bit of room to work with here.
Yeah,
but
2 goals, yep.
I think that a lot of players kind of struggle with rushing to 50s, trying to beat the other player to the ball. And usually I think that puts you in a disadvantage for 50-50s. You see it the most, I think, with kickoffs. A lot of high-level players probably know this pretty well, but when you go against like your friend that doesn't play that often or something like that, and they do the kickoff and they just drive straight at the ball, you lose almost every time just because you beat them so handedly to the ball that it bounces off them, bounces off you, and now it's flying over onto your side of the field and you're in a tough spot. And so I think you're right. I think the patient low 50-50s and just kind of biding your time for the perfect 50 instead of trying to rush to a fast one really leads to better chances in terms of that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just getting to the ball earlier doesn't guarantee that you're gonna. Oh my gosh, that was close. Yeah, just getting to the ball earlier doesn't guarantee that you'll have a better 50, and also just having a better 50 isn't necessarily better for your team. Some things you sometimes have to think about is, where do I actually want this 50 to go? Is it going to be better if I? Oh, we've got a rule 1 here.
I don't know what's going on there. It's not really a rule 1, but
a little sort of rule 1 backwards. Rule 1.
Yeah, I think Aslan's stuck and Matt is choosing to keep him there. Don't really see that very often. Bunker just kind of sitting here. Now it's a 2v2. My favorite game mode. We have a slower pace here as these players now have to adapt to the new situation on the field. For those of you kind of newer to Rocket League, you don't break rule 1, which is what Kade was talking about. Those players are kind of locked car to car, and you just stay like that. It's an unspoken rule of Rocket League, but you don't move. And looks like that has put these players in a situation where now they're playing the 2v2. I think is Bunker a two's main, or is it Vin that I'm thinking of? One of these players was a two's main. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Vin with a good 50 there. Bunker able to touch that out to the corner. A dangerous ball, and that's going to be well placed, almost off the back of Matt there. But still going to be enough to put another one on the board for UCSD, and a little bit of fun on the Rocket League field. Players not taking themselves too seriously here.
Yeah, typically seen as a sign of respect to stay locked into that rule 1.
Yeah,
in the Rocket League community, anyway.
And it's bad karma to break rule 1 for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A little weird challenge there from Aslan. Gonna put Bunker in a tough spot there. A great touch. I like that a lot. Just playing that slow to the corner. Touch out there from Mad Lava Blue, scooping this one up. High 50 on the UCSD half, and another high-placed ball. Aslan trying to read this one, not quite able to get up to it, and that's a dangerous one as it bounces in front of net. Vin able to get a touch out. Bunker low on boost, not able to challenge that one as quickly. Seeing UW struggle to get this one out of their half. Lava up for this one, a double opportunity, not quite able to get a touch on, but Matt's going to finish it off. That's going to be the game tied 2-2 with 40 seconds left. Maybe we'll see some overtime in game 3 here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure from UCSD there.
I don't know how Aslan got the boost there, but you know, we'll take it. Bunker with a bit of a misread there. Aslan able to play that one behind Matt. Backwards up the wall there, trying to get a 50, but not quite able to get a good touch. Awkward spot for UCSD here. Doesn't look like UW's able to capitalize on it quick enough. Been nice and patient on that one, and Aslan able to recover it. Good touch over Raw Days. Another one to beat Lava. Can he beat Matt here too? Not quite able to. Trying to get a shot on. 0 seconds left on the clock. Floating over to UW's half, and Vin's going to let that one fall.
Smart decision.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the pressure that UCSD has been putting on them this game. Good kickoff there from UW, but not quite enough power there to make it work. Aslan with a nice hard shot, just barely off net. All Day's able to clear this one out. Vin up for this, just floating. Lava Blue is going to play that out. Another one in front of UW's net. Lava Blue with a nice high ball. Matt following this one up, not quite able to put enough power on it. And again, it's floating in front of UW's net. And again, they're stuck under high pressure.
Yeah, I wonder what they could do to alleviate the pressure in these situations. Oh, that's an unfortunate pinch.
An awkwardness there. Aslan getting bumped. Trying to beat Matt to the ball and not quite able to. That one under Aslan. Well-placed shot. That's going to be game number 3 in favor of UCSD. And yeah, I think that they were struggling with that pressure. But, you know, a good way for UCSD to finish that one off. I think that that is an earned shot. Well-placed, well thought out. Aslan kind of stuck challenging that in that way. And it leads to game number 3 and the series in favor of UCSD.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, that game had everything. We got overtime. We had a long extended 2v2 as a result of a Rule 1. And then, yeah, some highlight plays. More so highlight plays than the first 2 games. But yeah, definitely a fun series to watch.
Oh, for sure. I think that UCSD was a really close match. I mean, all of those games were within one goal. 3-2, 3-2, 2-3.
Yeah.
All of those were really solid, really close series. And it came down to just those little mistakes here and there, every once in a while, kind of getting away from them. And then also just the great team plays from both teams, finding those gaps, finding those passing plays. And it came down to just which team could kind of hold it together in the defensive pressure a little bit longer. And it looked like UW was just struggling with that a bit more than UCSD was.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
What do you think, UW could have been doing differently? You were just about to comment on it before the game ended. But what would you do in that situation? What would you try and improve to alleviate some of that high pressure?
I think, at least in this last game when I was watching it, I think maybe part of the issue might be, or one thing they can try to do is make sure that they're coming out of the defensive zone as a team more, or like together. So what you end up getting is Aslan goes out, takes a 50. The 50 was pretty neutral, but they're still stuck on the defensive end, which allows I forgot who was behind him, Vin or Bunker. It's not quite close enough to follow it up to where they can actually get it out of the zone. So you get repeated sort of like single players trying to take the ball out of the zone on their own, rather than kind of taking it out as a team, and then you get stuck in this sort of defensive rut.
Yeah, and it puts you in kind of a loop of losing boost and not really pushing the ball anywhere. And when you do get it out, you don't have anyone there to follow it up, so it just gets played back in your half.
Yeah. So maybe something they can add is to like kind of. So I think one of the like, one thing that there's like a lot of motivation to try to do is when you're stuck on defense for a long time, you get control of the ball and you're like, all right, I got to get the ball out as quickly as I can. But if your teammates aren't in a position to help you, then what you've done is you just handed the ball back to the opponent, and then they can bring it back into your zone quickly. So maybe you get control of the ball and you slow it down until you know, like as a team, that you're ready to sort of transition into offense, and then you can kind of do the same thing to them, where you have sustained pressure because you're all on the same page.
Yeah, definitely something that UW can look into, trying to clean up a little bit, is getting out of those, just that transition period. I think that we've been talking about that a lot with them, is not only transitioning onto defense, but transitioning out of defense as well. And it again comes down to just kind of their cohesiveness and playing together more and getting a sense of, you know, who's where at what time and how close can Vin be to Bunker and trust that 50 is not going to go flying over his head, how, you know, all those different little things that they start to work together as a team and figure out. And I definitely think that we're seeing a lot of improvement out of them, and we're seeing them start to figure out how to play with each other as best as they possibly can. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think with that, we got to say congratulations to UCSD. A really good series from both teams. We saw great plays, good ones for the highlight reel, some good fakes and kind of callback moments. And, you know, congrats to UW as well for putting up a good fight. And we're seeing a lot of improvement out of them, and it's really fun to watch them every couple of weeks here and really see how far they've come. But with that, we're going to say thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you guys stick around for our Overwatch portion. Rocket League's done, but Overwatch is still here. They're going to play UW Esports at 7, so make sure you're here to watch that. Remember that you guys can check us out at UW Esports on most platforms. That includes Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and here on Twitch. Make sure that you join the Discord if you're interested in volunteering. Maybe you want to cast, maybe you want to do some production side of things. If you want to get involved or help out, make sure you join that Discord to do that. We have a lot of great team members behind the scenes here that, you know, don't get to see the spotlight, and they do a lot of great work. So if you want to be part of that team, make sure you get involved. But with that being said, it's time for us to turn in for the night. Rocket League's done, but you're going to have some Overwatch coming your way, and a lot more exciting esports content.